welcome back to another episode of Minecraft Exodus. In this episode, there's only two main things we plan on doing. However, one of them has been long anticipated. That will be the second thing we will be doing. The first thing we're doing is going to be building a mob farm. To build the mob farm, I've already gathered quite a few different things, and this is what we'll be using. The first thing we're going to be crafting with these slime balls and iron is going to be entity conveyors. Now, entity conveyors are a very helpful thing because these help you move all your entities around, keep everything where you need them, and overall it's extremely helpful for pushing everything in. No need for water. Next thing on the list is a item hopper. Not what it's called, it's just that I can't remember what its actual name is. This will collect all of the items around and make it so then we don't need to have hoppers on the ground or something like that. Everything will just be automatically brought into this absorption hopper. The next thing we have is going to be this, the Ender Inhibitor. The Ender Inhibitor will make it so an Enderman cannot teleport outside of this. This is extremely important for having any Enderman in our mob farm, which is a possibility, but currently that is not something we will be adding to the mob farm. Tinted glass just lets us see through while making it so things can still spawn in there. And finally, we're going to be making one of these mob mashers. Mob mashers help us kill the enemy automatically, while it also has the benefit of counting as a player kill. So any item that is normally dropped only if the player kills the creature, this will give us that benefit. It does require a redstone signal to turn on, so we're also going to craft a lever real quick. Like that. There we go, that is the mob masher. This will be essential in creating the mob farm properly. Now, I also ended up crafting 10 looting upgrades. These are pretty simple to craft. Gold nuggets, redstone, and blue dye, which is just made out of lapis. But something else I ended up obtaining in between episodes was something called the Wound Bearer. This right here. The Wound Bearer is pretty nice. It allows you to... It's also pretty expensive though. Netherite ingot and some other stuff. Scrap, ice vendor, blaze rods, previous dust. But I found it in a chest, so I didn't need to deal with any of that. However, the Wound Bearer, you can see there, increased damage 0.00. The Wound Bearer, every time you take damage, you will add a small amount of damage to the Wound Bearer. That in turn gets put into your direct attack damage. This Wound Bearer I've had on for a little while. When I attack, it adds 57.12 damage to my attack. It is extremely powerful and can be used to kill majority of basic mobs in an instant. I wish I had obtained it on camera so that I could show off its capabilities immediately. But it will be very helpful for the latter portion of what we will be doing in this episode. Although, there's one more thing I forgot to do with our mob farm. That is these diamond books. Now, these enchantment books are nothing special by themselves. Well, actually, even then they are special. For example, Scavenger 3. Mobs killed may roll their loot tables twice. If you don't know what that means, when you kill a mob, the stuff that it drops will have a % chance of dropping. If the tables are rolled twice, that means that it rolls once, it decides whether or not the items will be dropped, and then it rolls a second time to decide whether or not the items will be dropped again. Then there's the severing. Severing will significantly increase the drop of reliquary drops. Reliquary drops are things like things like this, the spider drop. The spider drop can be used to create the regular spider drops that it has, which is quite nice if you can get these more often. That is what the severing can do for you. And finally, the capturing. Capturing is the most important enchant we have for what we plan to do. When you kill a mob with capturing, you have, I believe it's a 0.25% chance it will drop its spawn egg, increasing by 0.25 every time you add it. So this would be around a 0.75% chance of the killed mob dropping its spawn egg, which is also going to be extremely helpful for the mob farm, because now we don't need to find a spawner that spawns the mob we're looking for. We just need to find a spawner, and we need to find the mob we're looking for and kill enough of them to get the spawn egg. So there are 4 mobs that I plan to use in this mob farm. The first mob we will be trying to obtain for this is going to be the Wither Skeleton. Now, there are multiple reasons for the Wither Skeleton being one of the things we're trying to obtain. That first one is going to be, obviously, Wither Skeleton Skulls. Wither Skeleton Skulls can be created to spawn the Wither, and a few other things in this mod pack, but mainly the Wither. The other reason why is that they drop coal. Coal is used for fuel, so an infinite amount of coal would be nice. Now, this is going to be the portal room. I realize that I haven't shown it off just yet. This is something that I'm still making currently. For every dimension that has a portal, we're just gonna expand this. So this is the Nether portal. This is a different portal that will be shown off in episode 5, I believe. So that won't be done yet. But for now, let's just go to the Nether. Now, up here there's a lot of Wither Skeleton skulls. Oh, and I found one of these, ethereal wings. You can fly, is all it says. It's pretty terrible flight. It's extremely slow in any direction, but it is freeform flight, so it's helpful. Let's just make everything mad at me first. There we go. We've got a lot mad at me. Get any spawn eggs? No. However, got 3 withered ribs. Ribs can be made into skulls with just regular skeleton skulls. Regular skeleton skulls, I do believe, are able to be crafted with regular ribs. Two drops for the one egg, which is expected. It's a pretty low chance that they drop their spawn egg, but at the very least it is dropping their spawn egg. See? Nebulous heart. So we can already see the effect of scavenger coming into play, dropping their reliquary drop. And another good thing to note is, since we have a higher chance of things rolling their loot table multiple times, we can see extra reliquary drops spawning, because obviously the loot table gets rolled once, has a chance of dropping it, it either drops it or doesn't, and then it can roll a second time and drop it or not. Why we all of a sudden have so many so quick. Endermen are not immediately going to be one of the things that I plan on putting in a spawner, however they can be good to put in there. Since we're here and I see something else, and the next thing besides wither skeletons to be put into the mob farm will be zombified piglins. Now that might seem like a weird decision to just put zombified piglins into a mob farm. However, for those of you who don't know, zombified piglins have a chance of dropping gold when they die. So if we have zombified piglins, that could be infinite gold. The goal for this mob farm is both experience points and infinite of the basic necessity items. Coal from the wither skeletons, along with the extra item of a wither skeleton skull, and we have gold from the zombified piglins, along with not much extra, however. But either way, that's still a good deal. Now the only issue is going to be actually getting the items we need. But already like that, you can see the effects of this severing and or the scavenger and cap. Like that, we have 12 hearts can be made into 3 pearls each, and we have 16 pearls. It is definitely a really powerful thing. If we can get looting combined with it, that would make it just even more powerful. Because the way that looting works is it increases the chances of something dropping rather than it increasing anything else. So if the chances of something dropping are increased, then combined with the chances of reliquary things dropping, combined with it can be rolled twice for whether something drops. Overall, none of those are conflicting in any way, and they all increase the things that drop by a lot. So I'm gonna be here for a little while. When I receive a spawn egg, I will see you guys then. Till then, I'm just gonna be sitting here killing a bunch of killing a bunch of creatures. More backpacks, hopefully. Bad, no backpack from that one. Anyway, guys soon. Alright everyone, I just got the first spawn egg, and actually it was a lot simpler than some of the other spawn eggs. I got a zombified piglin. I've only killed about 5 off camera, which is definitely nice compared to the amount of Endermen and skeletons that I've killed. I also decided I would be putting on any armor that I end up getting dropped that gives luck, because any extra luck is good. And I'm also realizing that I should have probably brought some more backpacks with me. This one's kind of full. But anyway, that is the zombified piglin, which is our gold source. 1 out of 4 spawn eggs that I plan on getting is complete. There's a grass block. That actually will be helpful for later. Much later, but later. It won't be helpful in this episode at all. Skeleton up there, and I'll be back when I get the next spawn egg for the wither skeletons. Hello everyone. Alright, so I have been killing them for quite a while, to the point that I have currently obtained 4 skulls. However, I've still yet to get the get the called spawn egg. So instead, I need to do something about my sword. I was hoping to get this done without having to worry about it, but I need to get more of this weapon. This weapon was dropped by this guy here, so I need to kill some of him to try and get a new weapon to fuse it. They also drop netherite scraps. However, it seems like since I was last here, everything to spawn those has been destroyed except for this thing, for that single trials chamber. Is not helpful. Sorry about that quick cut. I had some difficulties going on in real life that I had to stop the recording. If I sound any different, it's because this is the morning of the next day. We're right where we left off, except as soon as I logged in, the trial chamber spawner went up again. However, I did not find any of the spawn egg for that creature, which is sad, but oh well. So instead of that, what we have to do is use the explorer's compass to try and find another one of these. However, first it would be important to figure out what the actual name of the structure is. If you saw what their name was, the Ancient Knights, they are from Iron Spells, so we can narrow down our search based on that. So sort by name, Ancient Battlegrounds. Actually, yeah, no, that actually sounds correct. What just happened? Why did I just teleport? What just happened? What was that? Why am I several thousand blocks out? What's going on? What just happened? We are so far from the rest of the map. I have no idea what just happened. I guess we got teleported to it for some reason. Oh, I have zero clue why we got teleported. And I don't even see it in the first place. Oh. I don't know, I'm still not seeing it. Sorry, I'm not speaking much. I'm still very confused as to why I got teleported in the first place. I'm trying to figure out some sort of explanation for that. The only thing I can come up with currently is that it might have just teleported me because I'm admin. However, that doesn't explain it entirely because then I would have been teleported every time I've been. I have not been teleported every time I used this. Which again makes me question as to got teleported this time. Another issue is that although I was teleported to the so-called ancient ruin, I'm not seeing anything. Absolutely anything of the sort. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go directly to the center point that it says that it's at, and I'm going to dig straight up until I have gotten all the way to it and to bedrock at the top, and then I'm going to dig straight down until I either reach the bottom or I reach our destination. Preferably I reach the destination. Go directly at some point of it. Alright, and almost to the top. And there we go. Now that we're at the top, we're just gonna dig straight down. Yeah, no. There doesn't seem to be the structure anywhere. Which is pretty disappointing. I guess there might have been a mistake with the compass. Oh, yeah, no, that's correct. That is what we are looking for, right there. Alright, let's see. Anything useful in these? Nope. Ancient Knight Charm fragments, quite nice. However, the charm fragment is not what we are looking for. There we go. Ancient Knight spawn egg. Now, that is going to be the second item, or the second spawn egg we have for the mob farm. Let's see. So, these Ancient Knights can drop Cinder Essence, which can be made into a few different things. The Iron Spells mod, and Netherite Scraps, which is our purpose for getting them. Now that we have the spawn egg, I don't particularly wish to stay here any longer because this is far out and there's a lot of lag out here. Bastion, however, it's away from the direction we need to go to get back to the overworld, so I'm not going to raid it. I also don't have much backpack space for it. Alright, I am back to where my portals are. Now the only thing left we need in the nether is the wither skeleton. Once we get the wither skeleton spawn egg, we no longer need to worry about the nether. Completely. There we go. With that, the wither skeleton spawn egg has been dropped, and now we have no use for the nether for a while. There's only one more spawn egg we need to get before we are done with preparations of the mob farm, and that may not be immediately obvious what it is. Go here for now, and I guess I'll drop off some mob drops for now. Gonna keep on the extra luck leggings, kind of. 1 luck, 2.75, and the chest plate. 2.5. Alright. There we go. That for even more luck. And now it's off to try and get the last one, which is definitely going to be the most difficult of all of them. Because the last entity we will be trying to add to this mob farm is the iron golem. I do not have nearly enough iron to just make a bunch of iron golems for this, so we need to rely on villages. And we're gonna need a lot of them. And they won't be in this village because there are no villagers. Alright, this village does have villagers, however it was attacked by a dragon. Probably that dragon right there. And there's no iron golem. Moving on to the next village. Alright, here we are in the next village. Although there also does not seem to be a golem immediately available. I can try and get them to spawn a golem. If I have the item. Nope, no I do not. Well, at one point I found some village pillagers wandering around with a flag. When I killed them, I got an ominous potion. You don't know what that does? When you drink an ominous potion, well, you get the ominous, you get the bad omen effect. When you are inside of a village, the bad omen effect will start a pillager raid. Raid will have a bunch of pillagers, and they will invade the villages to try and kill all the villagers. And it's your job to kill all of the pillagers. However, I don't really care about that. What I care about is when they're faced with that danger, they will spawn iron golems. I believe it's using that method that iron farms using iron golems are typically made. However, I want to be difficult and make a spawner for them. The side bonus of that is that I'm use the hypothesis mod to customize spawners so that it will spawn faster than if we used that during a raid. +2 luck, that's going to be very helpful. I guess we just put it on the Elytra. More villages over here. Back at spawn. Alright, here we are. Jungle Temple. That someone else has already looted before. Clearly they didn't raid it properly if they just left some emerald blocks sitting here. I believe I raided all of it. To one of these in a while. Yep, didn't think so. Alright, now we've raided all of it. Let's keep moving to the village over here. Here we are, and it seems to be bustling with villagers, so most likely there's an iron golem, and yes there is. Sadly not lucky on the first try to get the one egg. That's perfectly fine. With this amount of villagers, it shouldn't take long for more iron golems to keep spawning. We just gotta get lucky once.